Hello, my name is Saifedean Ammous. I was just speaking at the conference here today. I had a wonderful time speaking. And I was asked to answer the question, what is freedom, or what freedom means to me? And that is a very interesting question. It's something that I've thought about a lot. I consider myself a libertarian. I've thought about this question for many, many years. And I would say my thinking has probably evolved on this question, where initially it was focused on the idea of doing what you want and not being forced to do things that you don't want. But as I have grown up, as I have matured, as I've started a family and have children, I think my conception of freedom has evolved more to being specifically about property rights. And I would say that perspective is mostly associated with the work of Professor Hans Hermann Hoppe, who's one of my most important influences in my life as an academic. And the key idea is that freedom really for me centers around the property. If you're able to own your body and own yourself and own your physical property, that to me is what freedom comes about. It's difficult to associate freedom to any kind of concrete marker other than this, because part of freedom is people wanting to do the things that they want. And so being able to do something or not is not such a clear criteria for me, because there are social norms and pressures that come to you where people don't want you to do certain behavior, or people would want you to do sort of behavior. And we can never separate ourselves from that, because that's also part of the freedom that other people have. So it might be, I might think of it as being part of my freedom that I want to, say, consume drugs on my property. But it's maybe somebody else's freedom not to have their children growing up around somebody who's consuming drugs. So there's no easy answer to say, freedom is something like drugs, or that having the freedom to do drugs, because what about the freedom to not have your children grow up around people who are doing drugs? So for me, it centers around property rights. I think the only coherent and defensible and internally consistent framework of understanding freedom revolves around the property rights and your ability to secure your property rights. And that's why for me, money is such an essential part of freedom, because inflationary money is a violation of your property right in your money. And therefore that for me constitutes the biggest threat to freedom in the world, because the world taking away from people the ability to have money that they can use as a form of saving, which for me is the most obvious and blatant violation of property rights in the world today.